Hey guys, my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. To kick off this crafting season of 2022, I'm going to share with you some of my favorites from last year. So please keep watching for some awesome Christmas inspiration using mostly Dollar Tree items. Please don't forget to do all the YouTube-y type things like subscribing to my channel if you like what you see and giving me a thumbs up, as that really helps me out here on YouTube. Okay guys, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So for our first idea, I am going to show you how I created this gorgeous wooden star wall hanging. Absolutely beautiful, customizable on a budget. Just grab up 3 of these wooden star hangings with frames from the Dollar Tree. They're easy to separate by untying the twine. I then painted the star part with Waverly plaster, and for the frame part, I rubbed on some Waverly antique wax with a baby wipe and rubbed it off. Then you're ready to go ahead and customize these. So easy and fun. You could use rub-on transfer stickers from Dollar Tree. You could use wrapping paper. You could freehand. I had this beautiful wrapping paper on hand, so I went ahead and cut out these little wreaths. I just thought it would be absolutely gorgeous on these stars. So I used some Mod Podge on the back of my wrapping paper circle to adhere it to my painted star. Again, the sky is the limit. You could cut out little images that you like, print them off of your computer. So here's what everything looks like so far. And I did decide to go ahead and dry brush my stars with some Waverly Silver Lining chalk paints. Here's what that looks like. And then I just put my stars back together by pushing the twine through the hole at the top of my star, and then using the back part of the twine to go through the top of the hole on the frame, and the front part of the twine to go through the bottom of the hole on the frame, and then just tying them together. So hopefully that makes sense. And when I tied this two pieces together, I did glue down that little knot. And of course, I repeat the same process on all 3 of these, getting them exactly how I like them. And then I'm just taking the excess twine at the top and snipping it off so that it is tied, but there is no excess. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue my stars together. I glue 2 of them together at the bottom using one of the points of the stars for each one, and then I glue one at the top by gluing down the 2 bottom points of the stars to the other stars to attach. I reinforce the back with some hot glue, and then I take some pieces of twine and just glue it to the tips of the stars like you see me doing here to make it look like these stars are still hanging. I know it may be a little confusing the way I worded it, but I know you guys can see it, so hopefully that all makes sense. I had some strips of this beautiful birchwood ribbon, so I just formed loops with these strips and then glued the loops together. So I did this twice so I could form a crisscross for my bow. Once that is done, I cut an extra length to be my tails, and then I took a piece of jute twine and wrapped it tightly around the middle, tying a knot, and then all you have to do is just go ahead and fluff out your bow. If you don't have little strips cut that you need to fold over, and then you could just take 2 longer strips and fold them over to be the top pieces of your bow. And here we go, a gorgeous easy bow. I'm just going to dovetail the tails by cutting a triangle upward for a boutique finish. I'm going to attach my bow at the top here, and then I had some pieces of greenery from an old Christmas tree that has seen better days. So I glued a couple pieces of that down on either side, as well as tucking in some little pip berries for a little pop of color. Here is what this looks like. So easy, so gorgeous, so inexpensive. I really hope that you like this rustic statement piece for Christmas. Okay guys, let's hop right into our next easy, inexpensive idea. This beautiful set of bells. This gorgeous wall hanging or door hanging only cost me around $2, as you can purchase all 3 of these small pots at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Used my glue gun to make a hole in the bottom of each one of these, and the bottom is going to be our top. Now I know many people have made these bells, or when similar glue guns and roses comes to mind. I know she made some gorgeous ones, but here is my take on it. So I paint these little planters with Waverly chalk paint to give myself a nice base. And I go over them lightly with a Waverly Silver aligning chalk paint to add a little more color. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and take some Waverly Elephant chalk paint and just a dry brush over these for some contrast. So I'm just using a stencil brush to kind of sparingly brush on this elephant chalk paint. When that is dry, I did decide to go ahead and take some Waverly Antique wax and even more sparingly brush that in places so it looked like it had a little bit of rust here and there, just to add to that beautiful vintage look. I did the inside of my bells as well, just for a more finished look. So here's what this looks like, and here's the antique wax that I brush on. Now I do Mod Podge my bells so the paint does not scratch off. Now I'm going to take some little bells from, I believe I got them from Dollar General. You got about 6 for $1, and they were gold, but I painted them with a Waverly Elephant chalk paint. Then I just used some twine to string through the bell and up through the bottom of my pot, which again is the top. I tied a knot so the twine would not go through that hole. I glued my knot down, and I did this to all 3 of my bells. You can make the twine longer at the top if you wanted your bells to hang longer. I gathered up all the twine and tied them together so I had a bunch of bells. I then formed a loop with some extra twine and just glued the knot of my loop to the knot of my hanging bells. And that way I can go ahead and hang my bells. Again, you can make these as long or as short as you want. Absolutely customizable. I then created a cute and easy bow with this red and white checked ribbon from Dollar General last year for $1. Now I flip it backwards so I can go ahead and put some more of these greenery pieces from my sad little Christmas tree that was going to be trashed. I glue them to the back, so when you're looking at this from the front, you can see that beautiful greenery peeking through, and here's what this looks like. It's about a $2 craft, you guys, and I hope you like it. So now I am going to show you how I made this beautiful door hanging or wall hanging with Dollar Tree items very easily. I just took a Dollar Tree wood round that I had used in a previous project and some Dollar Tree wallpaper, also some Dollar Tree window clings. I placed the wallpaper on top of my wood round and used my fingernail to make a mark where I needed to cut roughly, and then I just went ahead and peeled the backing off of my wallpaper, placed it down on my wood round, and then I used some sandpaper that was 150 grit, but really anything would work, just to sand off the edge and just give me a nice clean edge on this wood round. And then I used a regular school glue stick from Dollar Tree on the back of my window cling to place this cute little truck with a tree on it right in the middle of this circle. Now I know at the top of my wood round there is a little gap where the wallpaper does not cover it. I'm not worried about that because I know that I'm going to place a bow. I also take these Merry Christmas window clings that came on the same sheet with this truck and adhere them as well. It also adds some of these cute little snowflakes, and I think this looks adorable so far. I butt some of the snowflakes up to the edge of this wood round and just trim off the excess. I love the way this looks. Now I'm going to coat the whole thing in Mod Podge just to keep everything in place and give it a nice finish. And while that is drying, we can go ahead and begin on our bow. So I am going to be using some Dollar Tree ribbon. It actually comes in the fall section, but I think it works for Christmas too. It's so pretty. I go ahead and fold it over until I have 2 loops on either side. Then I'm going to take a piece of twine. This is actually like a red and cream colored twine from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tie my bow tightly in the middle, going around a few times with this twine, and then I'm going to tie it off at the back and trim off the excess. Then I'm going to take my brand new glue gun, which I will talk about here in a few minutes, and I'm going to adhere it to this wood round by just adding a little bit of hot glue, pressing the bow firmly down until it adheres. I do kind of fluff my bow up on the sides. Then I take a couple of tree branches from an old Christmas Christmas tree that I am using for parts and just add a couple to either side, just at an angle that I think looks pretty under and around this bow. Once everything is all glued down and arranged, here is what we have: a quick, easy, and absolutely a beautiful DIY. I hope you like this one. Now I'm going to show you the quickest, easiest, but really pretty DIY. So I took these 2 tags from the Dollar Tree and I removed the embellishments at the top. Yes, that did rip some of the paper, but I wasn't really concerned about it because I knew that I was going to be covering that up. So I put some hot glue on that top side of my piece and I placed the joy tag on top of it. I pressed it down to make sure that they adhered tightly. Now I'm taking 2 more of those Garland ties from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut them in the middle so that I have 4 pieces, and I'm just going to kind of pinch in the middle and twist like so, which will put all of these pieces together. Then I'll just kind of fan them out till I get them how I like them. I love how these bend and just kind of flex the way you want them. And then I go ahead and glue that down at the top of my tags. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut down another greenery tie so I can just add a little bit more in on either side. I'm just going to kind of make sure that I have that whole top filled in and any bald spots or paper spots are completely covered. So there I go doing that. And while I am doing that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate you. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing and joining our little family. If you're already subscribed to my channel, you know that I appreciate you so much. Okay guys, so now I'm just taking these 2 little ribbons and I just folded them over to get 1 loop of each ribbon on either side. I'm taking another smaller ribbon and tying them tightly in the middle to create my bow, which I'm then going to fluff out very generously. I love fluffing bows, so I'm just going to play with that, and I absolutely love these ribbons. These were in my stash and I believe they came from Dollar General last year. I was going to say Walmart has pretty ribbons, and they do, but what I was trying to say was Dollar Tree has beautiful ribbons, but don't overlook Dollar General. They have some gorgeous ribbons as well. I'm just going to glue that down in the middle, and then I'm going to glue some berries right in the middle of that bow to cover up any mess. And I'm going to glue some more of this pretty lighter color greenery that I had in my stash. I'm also going to put a little hanger on the back of the sign by just folding over a piece of ribbon and tying a knot at the bottom, gluing that down. Now here I come in with these gorgeous berries from Dollar Tree, and I just glue a little sprig to either side to pop out a little bit more of that deep, dark, absolutely gorgeous red color. Okay, on to our next idea. Let's use some summer and kind of unusual items to create this beautiful wreath, but they are Dollar Tree items, and I know a lot of people lately have been using hula hoops and pool noodles. I absolutely love using these. It gives you such a gorgeous size wreath. You just take your pool noodle and you cut down the center of it. I just used a bread knife to do so. And then once you do that, your pool noodle fits perfectly onto your hula hoops. I used about 1 whole one and then about 3/4 of a second one. I just used my bread knife once again to cut off the little bit extra there, and then I used some white duct tape to attach the pool noodles like so. I also applied some white duct tape here and there on top of my little wreath because hot glue sticks so much better to duct tape than it does to a wreath form made of foam, even though I really didn't end up using hot glue. Okay, and now this beautiful garland I purchased recently at Hobby Lobby, 75% off from 4th of July. It would probably be 90% off at this point, but these pieces of burlap and fabric were the perfect size to tie onto my wreath form. So kind of an easy little cheat there. If you could find them, I only paid about $3 per garland, and you could have easily used 3 or 4 on this wreath form. I only grabbed 2, but I made it work. I just discarded that blue and white checked ribbon for a different project. And I just went ahead and tied on my burlap, and my red and white check ribbon alternated. Used the strips from both of my garlands, and when I ran out of that, I took some ribbon that I had in my stash. Absolutely a beautiful ribbon with a Christmas barn on it. I believe I purchased it from Walmart on clearance last year, and some burlap from Dollar Tree that I purchased on clearance. No, not on clearance, just at Dollar Tree. Sorry, guys. But I cut these down to size using this blue and white checked piece as a guide, and then I just went ahead and repeated the same process with this fabric as I did the last. I just tied these pieces on alternated. I did leave a piece of wreath form bare, and I took some of this Dollar Tree burlap and wrapped it around the bare part of my wreath form. Okay, let's create a gorgeous, humongous bow for this ginormous wreath. This wreath is huge, you guys. Probably longer than 3 feet wide. I'm sorry I'm getting a little tongue-tied in this video. It is coffee time. I know you guys hear me say that quite often, but it's just one of those days. So anyway, I create a large loop on either side with my burlap ribbon, and I set it down. Then I have 2 strips of this gorgeous barn ribbon. I just create half loops with those by tucking them over and gluing them down. Then I'm just laying them like so. Now I have a long strip of this red and white buffalo check ribbon, and I am just folding it over and gluing that down. So here you'll see me creating an X formation there. Once that is done, I'm going to cut 2 tails of each fabric and then just stack them on top of each other. You absolutely do not have to have so many tails. I just had the ribbon on hand, so I thought, oh, why not? Then you bunch all of your ribbon pieces together like so, and I tie them very tightly with a piece of thick twine. I like to tie it, flip it over, and knot it in the back, pulling tightly as I go. Once that is done, you cut off the excess twine there, and then go ahead and fluff your bow out by sticking your fingers in between the loops of ribbon and just giving a good fluffing. And then I like to take my little ends there and dovetail them by cutting a triangle upward, which is absolutely optional. This wreath is so customizable. If you have an old tablecloth or even like an old bedspread or some old fabric, you could cut it into the same size strips and just create this absolutely gorgeous, humongous statement piece for Christmas or any holiday really on a simple budget, as your wreath form is only a few dollars. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue this huge bow down, and this and that spot where I covered in burlap is really the only place on this whole wreath that I use glue, besides gluing down a little bit of this piece of Christmas tree here. Again, you guys, I could go ahead and untie these little pieces of ribbon and remake this over for a different season. So reusable and very economical. I think this is absolutely stunning, and I am really proud of this. I cannot wait to put it out for the Christmas season. All right, and next idea, you guys. Let's make some Christmas logs. I've seen these done a million ways. I'm going to use pool noodles, and I'm going to cut them down to various lengths. I'm not really picky about what size they are. I just want 3 for my bottom layer, maybe about an inch different in size. I don't want them all perfect. And then I'm going to want 2 for my middle layer that are a little bit smaller, and 1 for my top layer. Now I have seen people paint these. I've seen Barry and Bethany use toilet paper on these. I've seen so many different things, but for mine, I decided to go ahead and cover them in duct tape. So I covered the ends with duct tape, and then I just wrapped duct tape around the middle. You do not have to be neat. As a matter of fact, if there are some lumps and bumps, that's just going to add character to your logs. Now, the reason I am not painting them is because I have this almost like a papery kind of ribbon that Dollar Tree has been carrying that is a beautiful birchwood pattern. So I'm just going to cut pieces and glue them down on top of the ends of my pool noodle. And then I am going to cut strips and wrap them around my pool noodle, just gluing them together. Now I am going to try and make sure that each loop of this ribbon matches up. So my seams are all on one side, so there's only one ugly side, which can be pointed downward. And honestly, it blends together so well, you can barely even notice it. So I just complete this whole log. Now, when I get toward the end of it, I do have to cut down a piece of ribbon as it is a little too thick for that last part of the log, but so easy peasy, you guys. This is the quickest project. Here we go with my tongue tied. That is so easy, so inexpensive, so fun, and I only used just over a pool noodle and a piece to be exact, so just over $1.25. And I also only used just over a spool of this ribbon. Like I think I did all of them except one of my smaller logs with one thing of ribbon. And you absolutely don't have to make as many logs as I did, you guys. So here is what this looks like. Okay, let's pop them together and make them pretty. So I do my 3 longer ones. Again, they're a little bit varied in size and I like that. I just glue them together to form the bottom of my stack. And then I'm going to glue 2 on top of those. I glue them underneath and I also glue a little bit on the side to hold them together. Then I'm just going to go ahead and pop my little tiny one on top. Then I'm going to take a doubled over piece of twine and tie that around my log stack. Now you could absolutely leave it at this if you want that simple look and you want it to be kind of multi-seasonal, or you could pop some things on it for fall, whatever you like. I'm going to go ahead and decorate mine up for Christmas. So we're just going to make a little bow by folding over these 2 smaller pieces of ribbon, putting them side by side, scrunching them together like so. I also have a piece cut for my tails, which I am going to scrunch into my little bunch before I begin to tie it tightly with this twine. Once it is tied tightly, I trim off the excess of my twine. I do dovetail my little tails there, as you've heard me say several times in this video, by cutting a triangle upward. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to what I have decided is going to be the front of my stack using some hot glue. I'm also going to tuck, you guessed it, a couple more of these little Christmas tree branches, but you could use any Christmas greenery you liked, and some of my little pitberry stems in there. And here is what it looks like. Now let me show you what I made out of these Dollar Tree canvases in snowman form. So I have quite a large family and it cost me around $6. It kind of depends on what you have in hand to recreate my family. I bought several packages of these little Dollar Tree canvases that come 3 to a pack, and I also bought one that's a little bit larger that comes 2 to a pack. I bought some extras just in case I made a mistake on the face. I bought these Dollar Tree wood planks that are meant to hang, and I removed all the hanging twine. I then took some of these Dollar Tree wood planks that I had on hand, and I hot glued one where my 2 larger wood planks met, and also a couple on the sides and in the middle there, just to add some stability because this wood is so thin. I then proceeded to draw snowman faces on all of my canvases. Now, I'm not a great freehander, but I wanted these to look whimsical and fun. If you do not want to freehand these, you could go on Cricut and just search snowman face. They have some really cute options, but I just did mine all a little bit different and fun. I just put the eyes in the mouth, and then I took another paint pen, just created some little dots in the eyes. I used my orange paint pen to create the carrot nose, and I believe these paint pens are from Walmart. I just put a couple of lines in there with my Sharpie, and this is one of the little grown-up snowmen. So for my boy snowman, I'm going to be using this buffalo check black and white fabric that I purchased in a roll at Dollar Tree. I just cut a little piece. I was just measuring how much I needed there, and then I make sure it's above my little snowman's eyes. I fold it around to the back and glue both sides down. I then run a tiny bead of hot glue where the fabric meets for the rest of the hat, so it is all together. Then it scrunches up better when I go and kind of fold it accordion style and then tie it with a piece of twine or a double piece of twine. I did each one a little bit different. If the hat is a little saggy at the top, you can go ahead and glue that fold down. This one I think I glued that little fold at the top down, but then I did my girl snowman, which is me, with red and black buffalo check, which I also found at Dollar Tree, and I put a little bow on her head with Dollar Tree ribbon. I recreated a snowman in the smaller canvas size for each of my children, and I put everyone's initial there at the bottom so everyone would know who they are. Then I took my 2 plank signs and stained them with Waverly Antique Wax by rubbing it on and off with a baby wipe, so that any gaps between my snowmen would look finished and pretty. I spaced my snowmen out exactly how I wanted them, and then I glued them down with a mixture of hot glue and tacky glue. Originally, I just did the hot glue, but it didn't quite have the hold that I wanted, so I did go back in and add some tacky glue. And here is what this looks like. Totally customizable to your family. You could just use one board if you have a smaller family, or if you need to cut the board. You could use any type of fabric that you wanted for the hat and ribbons. Again, like I said, so super customizable, very fun. I really enjoyed making this project, and I hope that you like it as well. If you recreate this project and would like to show me, you can tag me on Instagram. Instagram link will be in the description box of my video. Time for our next idea. So for our next idea, we're going to use some more of those little mini canvases. This is so easy, fun, and customizable. Of course, you go ahead by unwrapping it. These ones come 3 to a pack, and they are a little bent sometimes, so I just bend them back and forth to kind of straighten them out a little. You can take a piece of craft paper or scrapbook paper that you like and just wrap the front of it. I just used a little hot glue on the sides, but you could also use clear tape if you have some. Unfortunately, my kids always use it up on me, but the little beads of hot glue work just fine. And then here is the front of my mini faux present. Now decorate it any way you like. I have this beautiful birchwood ribbon in my stash. I like to go after Christmas and buy ribbon at Walmart in different places for very cheap, so I'm not quite sure where this birchwood ribbon came from, but it just looks so cute. I kind of formed a cross shape with it, just gluing down on either side, and then I went over that with some buffalo check ribbon from Dollar Tree. I formed a little bow with my birchwood ribbon like so, kind of almost like a cancer awareness bow sort of, and then scrunch it in the middle, and then I tied the middle. Well, I didn't tie it, I folded it over in hot glue, this little piece of buffalo check for the inside or the middle of the ribbon. Normally I do tie it and just put the little tie toward the back, so however you want to do it, it just kind of depends on how tight you want the middle of that bow to look, if that makes sense. And then I just took a couple little pieces of greenery that I had in my stash and just tucked them here and there until I got the look that I wanted. So I made a set of these. I did the other one with a ribbon going in the other direction, so one was long ways and one was width ways. I did pop a little star in one of them that I had in my stash. So really the sky is the limit for how you decorate these. They are so fun, perfect for a tier tray. You can put them on a little easel. Very, very customizable. I think they're absolutely adorable, and the sky is the limit on what you could create. Okay, let's get into our next idea. This one is super quick, so don't blink. I just added some more beautiful ribbon with pearls on it and a little bow that you can buy pre-made at Dollar General or Dollar Tree around Christmas time. So there is another idea. Okay, so for our next idea, grab up any size canvas that you like from Dollar Tree. I grabbed a large one, and you will also want some of the packing paper that they sell at Dollar Tree or brown craft paper. Wrap your canvas up in it. I just folded it around and glued it down on the back, but again, you could use clear tape or whatever you like. Once you have this done, just grab up any type of ribbon that you like. I cut a long piece to go lengthwise and glued it down on either side, and then I put a short piece across that, gluing it down on either side. I had some of this beautiful snowflake gift trim in my stash. I believe I got it at Hobby Lobby clearance last year, and I went ahead and put that on top of my pretty burlap ribbon. And I'm just going to create a bow by making 2 loops of the beautiful burlap ribbon and then folding that snowflake gift trim on top of it. And then I'm also going to cut some tails with the ribbon and also with the trim. I am going to scrunch all of these together and tie them very tightly so this can be the bow for my faux package. I think these packages are so fun. You could hang them on the wall. You could put them on a wooden easel that Dollar Tree also sells. You could do all kinds of things with them. They're so customizable. You don't have to use a craft paper. You could use wrapping paper. You could use bulletin board paper that Hobby Lobby sells, any type of ribbon. You could have your children draw on them or help you customize them, put bows on them, stickers, whatever you like. Could be so fun. I just think it is awesome to have these. And also think about this, if you have a piece of wall art that you don't want to put away, you could wrap that up as well and then just take off the wrapping paper after the holiday season. So now I go ahead and glue this bow down on top of my little ribbon cross there. I glued a pretty snowflake that I had in my stash on top of my bow, and then I decided to scatter some snowflakes all over my package. These are the puffy ones. I believe they came from Hobby Lobby, and I trimmed a few of them so that I could just kind of put the edges up to the edge of my faux package here. Now Dollar Tree does sell larger, flatter snowflakes that would look adorable on a package. You could put all kinds of different ornaments or whatever you like on here. You could also add a faux gift tag or a real gift tag, whatever you like. So that was that idea. Let's move on to the next one. I honestly think this one is my favorite. I love it. So same concept. You have a large canvas or whatever size you like. I wrapped it in some bulletin board paper that I buy in a large roll from Hobby Lobby. Now I had a small Christmas tree that I use for outside decoration that my husband was saying that he wanted to throw away because it was starting to look a little sad. So I clipped off some of the branches from this Christmas tree, and I'm just forming a wreath on top of this faux package. So there's an idea. If you have a Christmas tree that looks sad and you're considering getting rid of it, or even a garland that you're considering kind of trashing, cut off a few of these cute little branches and just make a little wreath for a package, or even for your wall. You could attach these to a wreath form. So I'm just kind of going around in a circular shape. If you have a hard time forming a circular shape, you could even trace like a small dinner plate and then just put these little greenery pieces on top of your tracing. So I am just hot gluing in pieces until I feel like this is full enough and fluffy enough. So I'm just going around and around, and I am kind of tucking one end under the last one, if that makes sense, so that I have a nice kind of uniform look. And I do this a few times till I get a beautiful fluffy wreath, and then I'm going to be coming in with a few more things, but again, super customizable. You do not have to do what I do. But I had this adorable little ornament in my stash. I believe I got it at Michael's last year for just a few cents after Christmas. But again, Dollar Tree's ornaments are amazing, and they have deer heads as well. I'm just going to glue the parts of this that are going to touch my wreath. So a couple places on the antlers and then at the bottom of the head there. And I'm going to press that down right there into that wreath. And then I have these cute little berry ties that I purchased at Hobby Lobby last year, and at first I was kind of wrapping them around the greenery, and then I got a little bit smarter and I just folded them in half, gave them a couple twists, added a tiny dab of hot glue, and just shoved them down into where I wanted them to go. And so there's a couple different options of how you could do that there. But I just added as many berries as I wanted to this beautiful wreath. So there I am with the hot glue, kind of twisting these and adding them in. I believe these are called pit berries, and Dollar Tree does sell pit berry garland several times throughout the year in various different colors. Now I just tied a little bow with my Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon, kind of just a little shoelace bow, and glued it down there at the bottom of my wreath. I last minute decided that I did want to put some ribbon on this package. So that is optional, and you could totally do it before you add the wreath. This was a last minute decision for me. So I just added a piece at the top and bottom to kind of make it look like it was there before the wreath was. And then I do the same thing width-wise. I just kind of measure where my little wreath is toward the end, and I glue it down on the back side. Then I cut one more piece and slide it under my deer's head, and just make sure that that line looks straight there. And here is my beautiful rustic woodland package. I absolutely love it. I think this is totally my favorite. And then after Christmas, if you want to remove everything, you still have a perfectly good canvas to use. Okay, next idea. Same concept. Grab whatever size canvas you like. This one is really fun. So wrap your canvas and then grab whatever size ribbon you like. I just used this little tag to get the length that I wanted for my little ribbon kind of flip overs here. I don't really know what to call that. We'll call it a loop. And then I'm just folding over each piece of ribbon. So just take a little template of however long you want your ribbon loops to be, and then just fold it over. I use a little bit of hot glue to secure the little folds. Now I am gluing this to a Dollar Tree poster board, not the foam board, but the thinner one, and I'm gluing them down in a tree shape. I'm doing 5 of them. I have the 2 on the ends kind of curving upward, and then I have a thinner ribbon, another birchwood ribbon that I am adding there in the middle, so I'm adding 4 of those. So how I'm going to be staggering this is I'm going to do 5 a little bit farther apart, and then 5 a little bit closer together, and then 4 a little bit farther apart, and then 4 a little bit closer together, all the way until I get to 1, and I'll just do 1. Between each layer, though, I do add a few strips of this thinner ribbon, which is totally optional, but I thought it just kind of fluffed my tree out a little bit. So I have 5 on the very bottom row spread out a little. My next 5 are kind of stacked on top of each other a little bit more until I get all the way to the top. Now, once you get all the way to the top and you are doing your 2s, you may need to fold the edges in a little bit just to kind of make sure that you are getting the pointy top look of a tree. So here I am kind of folding the edges in with a little bit of hot glue and gluing those down, and then I'll have my 1 on top. Again, you don't have to use a skinnier ribbon if you don't want to. I just thought it was pretty, but you could use whatever type of ribbon you like, and then a skinnier buffalo check. The sky is totally the limit, but for my thinner ribbon, I just kind of went 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2. So I started with 4 instead of 5. Then I just cut around the ribbon and cut out that poster board there. Then I'm just going to stick that down onto my prepared little faux package. Now, once that was down, of course, I did decide that it needed some more of these small little ribbon loops just to kind of fluff it out and shape it a little bit more. I was really flying by the seat of my pants on this one. I had an idea and I just made it come to life. So all the way up on each row, I just tucked another little piece of ribbon on either side. You can kind of see how I did that there. But again, so customizable. Pop a little bow on top, a couple embellishments. I put a star and a pearl, and you don't have to use as much ribbon as I did. You can totally play with this. You don't have to fill out the sides like I did. I just kind of love the way that looks, and I just thought it looked a little bit better. But here's an idea for you if you have some beautiful ribbon that you would like to showcase. All right, so here is a little idea with one of the canvases. If you have a small, tiny little canvas left over that come in a 3-pack, you could take some beautiful buffalo check ribbon. I believe I don't know. This is buffalo truck, right? I get so confused with the different things that look the same but have different names. However, I fold my ribbon around either way, and I didn't even have to wrap this little package. I added an adorable little gnome from Dollar Tree, and I believe that ribbon was from Dollar General. I put a tiny little bow on my gnome, and that's how easy this one is. I think it will be so adorable in a tier tray or anywhere you like on a mini easel. So tons of options, tons of ideas for you guys. The sky is really the limit. You could get so fun with canvases. Okay, so for our next DIY, I'm going to be using some scrap wood that I had in my garage, as well as 2 Dollar Tree wood shelves that I had already glued together for a previous project and stained with Waverly Antique wax. So I just had these wood pieces cut down to kind of an arrow shape at the top. A funny story here. Actually had a worker fixing some things on our house, and he had an amazing saw, and instead of using my miter saw to saw through this thick wood, I just politely asked him, and he pulled out his saw and he went ahead and cut the tops of these at angle for me. Now they're not perfect, but that is okay because this is a rustic craft. So I just thought that was a funny little story. Because in years past, I would have never been that bold. I guess crafting is really kind of making me come out of my shell. So anyway, I'm going to paint one large and one small with each of these Waverly paint colors, Waverly lacquer, and then that Waverly green color. Now I have this vinyl that I purchased last year from Walmart, I believe. It's actually a Cricut vinyl, but I figured I would go ahead and use it on these houses. So I'm going to take the large greenhouse, and I am just going to place this on the top and use my sandpaper to sand off the excess. Now the sides, the back, and the top of this house are all painted green, so if you look at it from any other angle, you will see that green. I love the look that the sandpaper makes over the vinyl and around the sides. I also did the same thing to the little red house, so I can alternate them. I then took my large red house and my little greenhouse and went over them with this sandpaper as well. This sandpaper is from Dollar Tree, and I believe it's 150 grit, and I just went ahead and brought out those edges. Now I took that shelf that I had put 2 Dollar Tree wooden shelves together, and I went ahead and painted it with Waverly Ivory chalk paint. Now I'm just going to arrange my houses in a way that I like them, and I'm going to use these little trees from Dollar Tree and these little tiny deer from Hobby Lobby last year, and I'm just going to glue everything down in a way that I like it. Now I'm going to take 2 pieces of this greenery that I had actually cut off that old Christmas tree that I keep referring to, and I twine them together to form a small circular wreath that I can put on the front of one of my large houses. I just trim it down so that it's not quite so fluffy and it has a little bit of a better shape. Then I go ahead and take these little pitberry picks and just twist them together and wrap them around my little teeny tiny wreath. I use dabs of hot glue to adhere this to the front of my larger house. And here is what everything looks like. I absolutely love it. So little side note, I was using my older glue gun here in this DIY because I hadn't received my new one yet, but I absolutely enjoy crafting with my new one now. So anyway, this project is so fun and cute in my opinion. So now for the next one, you could take a Dollar Tree MDF. I'm going to call it wood, but it's really MDF. Dollar Tree has several different ones for each season. I'm going to paint it with this green Waverly chalk paint. I am then going to trace the deer part of it onto my vinyl that I used in a different craft. This removable Cricut vinyl that you can find at Walmart. I am then going to place the deer on top of the deer, and I'm just going to go around it with my little sandpaper to make sure that all of the edges are nice and clean and also slightly distressed. So that is how easy this craft is. And then of course I will go ahead and distress around the edges of the letters a little bit. So again, I know this is kind of a cheat because this is MDF, but some call it pressed wood, so I think I can get away with it. And I absolutely love how sturdy these little signs are. You can hang them or stand them up. And here is what it looks like. This goes with our whole theme today, kind of a rustic woodland theme. So here's another idea. Do the same idea, but I use the word peace, and I also use my lacquer chalk paint from Waverly, and I just stress it the same way after using that very same vinyl to cover this tree. And now I have a cute little set that goes together really nicely with my Christmas decor. So here is the word peace. Okay guys, here is another idea for you. I am going to show you another Dollar Tree wood DIY using 3 Dollar Tree triangle signs and some Dollar Tree wood blocks. This is a double-sided DIY. Take these 3 triangle signs and I paint the inside of them with Waverly Plaster chalk paint. I take 6 of these wood blocks and I'm going to be staining them with my Waverly Antique Wax. I am going to be wiping it on and wiping it off. But first I'm going to glue them together. So I'm going to glue 3 together, 2 together, and leave 1 on its own, as we want a taller, medium, and short trunk for our trees. Once they are glued together, I will go ahead and do that staining technique I told you about by rubbing the antique wax on with a baby wipe and rubbing it off. Once they are all stained, I will set them aside to dry and begin on these triangle signs. Again, as I said, we painted the inside with the Waverly, I believe I say plaster, but I actually used ivory. I usually use plaster, but my Walmart ran out, so I used ivory, and I think it looks really nice. I painted the edges of these signs with that Waverly lacquer chalk paint to make them pop, and I used some scrapbook paper just to line the bottom of these triangle signs. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to grab my window clings and I am going to place 1 cling in each sign. I'm going to cut around this cute little truck and trim off the tree because it doesn't fit in there with a tree on there. Once I get it all trimmed around, I'll just remove it from the backing and place it inside of the sign. Once I get all of my window clings placed how I like them, I do go over this with Mod Podge, but I just use some glue stick on the back of the window cling to adhere it. Now again, as I said, I use a different window cling for each of my little, what is going to be trees, and I do go ahead and add a little bit of snowflakes a little later on, you'll see that. But for now, I'm going to add in this little tree and a couple of little deer that we had used in a previous project and just go ahead and glue them down. Then I'm going to flip all of my little tree signs over and I'm going to use the same scrapbooking paper that I had used on the inside bottom to cover the back. I'm going to apply some glue stick. I'm going to place my paper on there and just use my sanding paper to go around the edges to give me a nice clean cut and also a nice distressed look. Once that is done, we have some double signs here. I absolutely love that. So we'll go ahead and attach them to our tree trunks using hot glue, and then we will go ahead and attach a little bow to the design side. This is just a little shoelace bow that I made with some Dollar Tree ribbon, but you could totally put a bow on either side if you wanted to. And here you can see I added in a couple of snowflakes for some more embellishment, but these are very customizable with any prints and window clings that you like. I love the fact that they are at different heights, and I also love the fact that this is a double-sided craft. I hope you like this as well. Please let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Now let's make another DIY using some items from the Dollar Tree. Very cheap and inexpensive. I paid about $7 to make this tree using a poster board from Dollar Tree that are 2 for $1. I simply took it and rolled it up like you see me doing here, making sure it had a point at the top. I just started rolling, and there my point at the top. When I get everything rolled the way that I need it to be rolled and I run out of poster board, I will tack it down with some of my duct tape. This just worked easiest for me. You might have to twist it up a little bit while you're kind of tacking it down with the duct tape, but this is so easy peasy. I am not the first creator to do this. I know several other people have. The most recent person I saw do it was Megan over at Glue Guns and Roses. She's absolutely amazing. So if you haven't checked her out, you should do that as well. But here is my take on this little poster board tree. And this one is so large. I try and get as much as I can in the frame to show you. Here I'm just trimming off the bottom, and of course I make sure it sits up nicely before I start wrapping the garland. So we spent 50 cents before we start wrapping the garland, and I use 4 of these Dollar Tree garlands. I simply glue it down and I start wrapping. Every so often I put a little bit of glue and I continue wrapping. I wrap pretty tightly as I want this to be super full. Now if you spread it out a little bit, you could probably get away with using 3 garlands, but I used 4 and I just cover this entire thing. Once I get it done, I of course stand it up again and make sure that it's standing nicely, and then I used 2 packages of Dollar General bells and I glue them all over my tree, which takes us up another $2. So they're at about $6.50. Now I am trimming the bottom of the tree a little bit. I'm just kind of trimming down the greenery, and then as I go toward the top, I just trim here and there just to give it a little more shape and make it look a little more high end. There are those little bells that I'm just gluing down here. There's no rhyme and reason to this. I'm just gluing them here and there. And again, this tree is so large, I'm just trying to show you the part I'm working on while I'm working on it. So these pine cones come from Dollar General. You can get about 12 in a package. I already had them in my stash. I just cut off the little twine pieces and glued them on. So about $7, about $7.50, and this tree is humongous. It is such a large statement piece, and I really think it looks a lot more expensive than it really is. These are so customizable and so fun. You could spray some fake snow on this and it would still be really inexpensive, and that may even take it up a notch. So I really hope that you like this idea. So for the next one, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree poster board. So that's about 1/4, right? And I'm just rolling it until I get it how I want it. Sometimes I have to roll once or twice to get the desired look. And you can play with it. You can make these skinny, you can make them a little shorter and a little rounder, however you like. Then I just use my duct tape to tape it shut, and I trim off the bottom, testing a couple of times to make sure that I get it how I want it. This garland came from Dollar Tree, so it was $1, and I used 2 of them. So this tree is about $2.25. I just glue it down, I wrap, I glue it down, and I do my next one. And then of course I trim a little bit around the bottom to make sure this stands up nicely. I decided to put a Dollar Tree bell at the top of this tree, and I do trim a little bit around the top too, just to make sure that we keep our shape of this tree and it doesn't kind of look like a blob. But I just think that this is really cute. Dollar Tree has really taken it up a notch this year with the garlands that they're carrying. Okay, so I didn't put a bell up there. I put a red ornament. Sorry, guys, but you could totally put a bell up there, and that would be adorable as well. So here's our little tree, absolutely adorable. I love it, and I think it looks so cute in this little snowman display. So fun and whimsical. So here is that idea. So for the next one, I'm going to show you how I made this adorable little red truck out of Dollar Tree items. Began with 2 red trucks from Dollar Tree, 1 of the little crates and 2 of the little boxes that usually have the drawers in them. I'm not using the drawers, I'm just using the boxes. So I began by peeling the sticker off my crate, laying 1 truck face up. I took the back fender off and I glued that crate down right on top of it with hot glue. Excuse my head here. It's going to pop in on a few frames because I'm just trying to see what I am doing. Now I take these 2 boxes and I glue one over that window there with the opening down. Now the reason why I didn't take off these raised parts is because the crate in the back is just slightly wider than these boxes. So these raised parts make everything level. Then I go ahead and glue that other little box there in the front like you see me doing. And I do remove that sticker, of course, just squeezing down a little hot glue. Now, if you wanted to use a longer term adhesive, that would be fine, but my hot glue is actually working really well for me. Then I just set that other truck on top of there using a lot of hot glue. I make sure that I get it positioned exactly the way that I want it. I just kind of play with it a little bit before the glue sets. Make sure that my truck is going to stand up level and everything is going to look nice. Once everything is nice and solid and I see that it's going to stand level, then the base of my truck is done. So what I'm going to do is sand off the little Merry Christmas glitter with my Dollar Tree sanding sponge. Now, even though I'm sanding it off, the words will still be raised. So when I paint, I will still see the outline of the words. So here we are, just sanding everything off and getting as much of that glitter off as possible. Then I'm taking Waverly Lacquer chalk paint. I love this color. And I'm going to give my entire truck a good coat. Now that little window there, I do get some paint in it, but I am not worried about it because I am planning on going over that later. So I just go ahead and paint everything except for the tires, of course. Now for my tires, I'm going to paint that little white circle in the middle with my Waverly plaster, and then I'm going to paint the actual tire itself with my Waverly ink chalk paint. Now here I start outlining these words with my Waverly ink chalk paint. I do switch later to a black furniture marker, but whatever works for you, I just outline all these words and then I fill in that window and that windshield. Now I'm taking these garland ties that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. Dollar Tree does carry them, but I have yet to find any this year. So I'm just winding it around into a circle like you see me doing here, and this is going to be my little wreath. So I'm now taking some berries out of my bag. Now these little berry ties also came from Hobby Lobby. Very inexpensive. I purchased them on clearance, or not clearance, but sale. And Dollar Tree does have lots of berries too. So I'm just wrapping them around this little garland, and I leave a little spot at the top where I'm just going to tie a bow with some little rope ribbons that I really like, and I'm kind of unfraying the ends there because I think it's really pretty the way this dangles. I actually think I purchased this at the Goodwill, but Dollar Tree has tons of cute thin ribbons that would be perfect for this project. So I just put down my first bow and then I layer the smaller, thinner bow right on top for some dimension and a little bit of extra. So I go ahead and glue one wreath right to the front of my truck there, and then I glue one right over the window on the side. Now we're going to move on to this little Dollar Tree sled, which I take and paint with my Waverly ink chalk paint. Once it is painted, I put that little hanger back. Now I realized that I did put the hanger in the wrong spot. I just kind of liked it up a little bit further, but you could put your hanger wherever you want. I just make a knot on either side and trim off the excess. So now I'm taking Dollar Tree cotton balls, just cotton balls from the cosmetics section, and popping them in the back of my truck. Then I'm going to arrange them around this little sled, and I'm just going to get it exactly the way I want it. And now I'm taking a brush and I'm dabbing on some Mod Podge. I'm dabbing a little bit on the sled, some on the cotton balls, a little bit on the truck. And you could use a spray adhesive if you like, but this is what I had on hand and it worked for me. Then I'm taking that Dollar Tree fake snow and I'm sprinkling it generously all over the places where I applied Mod Podge for a really pretty snowy look. And once this dries, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and that doesn't just look like cotton balls in the back of the truck. I think it looks really cute. So here I am just kind of shaking off the excess and getting this exactly how I like it. And you guys, this was so easy yet so affordable, and I just think it is so cute. The options are endless about what you could put in the back of your truck and what different colors you could use. So you could really do so many different things. So now I'm going to show you how I made this absolutely gorgeous, gigantic hula hoop wreath. I began by taking a hula hoop from Dollar Tree and removing the sticker around the front, or around the whole thing actually. And then I take this garland that I had purchased at a thrift store. Now Dollar Tree does sell garland. I just have not been lucky enough to find it this year. but if I had been able to find it, I would have used several of those. So I'm just taking this thrift store garland, I'm laying it on top of my hula hoop, and I'm just finding 2 branches that I can take and twist around. So just every few inches, I'm taking these branches and twisting them around. And this actually molds this to the hula hoop wreath very nicely and gives it a nice secure hold. So now for this garland, it's long enough for me to go around 1.5 times, which actually works out perfectly because I just use the half that is a little bit sparser to put my embellishments. If you were using Dollar Tree garland, you could go around as many times as you wanted to. So I just continue this for the second loop around, and then once I come to the end of my garland, I just take 2 more of those little branches and tie it around. Once this is all complete, then I'm going to take my Dollar Tree truck. I'm going to break the little tree off the back of the truck. Of course, I'm going to cut off the tag. And you see right there where it's a little bit sparser, that is where I'm going to go ahead and glue my truck down. But before I glue it down, I'm going to glue some picks onto it. Now, these absolutely gorgeous picks came from Walmart. However, Dollar Tree does carry really pretty picks. I just have not been lucky enough to find them this year. So I'm crisscrossing the picks over the back and using some hot glue. I also used a piece of masking tape. This is a trick that Holly over at Hot Humble Pie taught me. So once those picks are firmly adhered, then I can kind of arrange them the way that I want them, and I think that they look pretty. Of course, after this is all glued down, I do go in with a few more berries and just kind of fill that truck up a little bit more. So here I am just gluing it down and just arranging it the way that I want it, kind of fluffing it up, and then I add in a couple more berries and things like that. So I put a little more glue on the side of that truck and it is firmly adhered. So here's just a couple more little embellishments, and then I take this garland that I purchased at Dollar General. I believe it was only $1 for a long garland, and it kind of does look cheap and plasticky on its own, but mixed with this other greenery, I think it looks pretty. And I just wanted a little touch of something, some color, and a look of snow. So I took this and went all the way around my wreath. Then I began making my bow the way I always do my bows, by just looping around twice and creating an X, setting it down, making my second layer the same way, creating a little X. I pile my X's on top of each other, and then I pinch them in the middle and tie them tightly with Dollar Tree twine. Once that is done, I can go ahead and fluff them out. For this one, I did also create a tail by just taking a longer piece of ribbon, tying it in the middle, and dovetailing the ends. I also added a couple embellishments to this bow, similar to the ones in the truck. So there we go. Then I just glue it down, and then I decide to add a little more stability by taking a garland tie and wrapping it around that bow and just kind of twisting it. You can't really tell it's there, but it adds a lot of stability. Once that is all done, I just kind of fluff my bow back up. Then I wanted a little bit more color. You guys could totally stop here if this is enough for you, but I have these gorgeous little decorations that I have purchased at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, oh my goodness, these ornaments would be so pretty. So I just took a few of them and I just put them, really no rhyme or reason, on the wreath. I did kind of try and go back and forth a little bit, a little to the left, a little to the right, and just make this look nice. But here it is. I think it's absolutely gorgeous for any large space in your home that you need beautiful decoration, or for your front door or the front of your house, whatever you like. This is very customizable, and I hope that you like this one. So for the next idea, I'm so excited to share how I made this absolutely gorgeous wooden tabletop fireplace out of Dollar Tree items. I absolutely love how it came out. Now, let me tell you, it is 22 inches high and 14 inches wide. You will need several wood planks from Dollar Tree from the Crafter's Square. They come 6 to a pack. If you cannot find them, Walmart also has them. So I began by putting 3 in a row and securing them with hot glue and popsicle sticks. You could use a longer term adhesive if you like, but I used a strong hot glue for this project and it's holding sturdy as anything for me. So I just put popsicle sticks between each of these creases here and just trimmed off the excess. You're going to want to do this 4 times. So for this part of the project, you will need 12 of the little wooden planks, which is 2 packages, because again, you're going to want 4 rows of 3. And once again, Walmart does sell these if your Dollar Tree does not carry a lot of wooden pieces. So once you get your 4 panels of 3, your first part of this project is done. You can set those aside and move on. So here I'm just making sure that they're all stable and sturdy. And then once I am done with that, I'm ready to move on to the next part of my project. So for the next part of my project, I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to use. So I have these wooden shelves from the Dollar Tree. Ideally, you will want 4 of these, but I only had 2, so I took these Dollar Tree tag signs and I cut them to be the right size just with a little handsaw. Well, actually, my son did it for me so that I have 4 pieces exactly the same size. So if you can't find these wood shelves, you could do that with all signs. Just get the exact size you want and cut it down. So once you have 4 pieces all the same size, you're ready to create your pillars or your sides of your fireplace. So I just hold the wooden plank or the sign up to one of my sets that has 3 planks, and I'm going to be using Jenga blocks to attach them. So I'm going to be putting hot glue on the side and the bottom wherever they touch the 2 pieces to hold them together. And so of course I'm going to put a wood plank on one side, and then I'm going to put my faux wood plank that I created out of a Dollar Tree tag on the other side. I'm going to do the exact same thing, taking a Jenga block, putting hot glue on this side and on the bottom, and attaching this together. And then you'll need another one of your groups of 3 planks, and you will be putting that on that remaining side there by gluing Jenga blocks on there, and then putting glue on your Jenga blocks where it attaches to the other side, if that makes sense. Then you have your pillar all ready to go. Of course, you're going to need to do this 2 times. Now, once you get that done, you'll need several Jenga blocks, 1 in a row downward and 3 across. So 21 blocks long, 3 blocks wide. And I'm going to be covering the plank side or your faux plank, which is your Dollar Tree sign if you don't have 4 planks. And I'm just going to be gluing all of these Jenga pieces down. Then there's going to kind of be a little bit of an ugly side where everything attaches, and that's going to be the outside of my fireplace, so I want to cover that up. So I'm going to be using 7 Jenga blocks down just to cover that up and make that look neat and tidy. So again, with the hot glue, just putting those on as firmly as possible and allowing them to dry. Now I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate it. If you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you are already subscribed, you know how much I appreciate you and value your continued support. I absolutely love this community and I get so excited about sharing my creations with you guys. Okay, y'all, let's get right back into the next step of this fireplace. So I'm going to take 7 wooden planks. They come 6 planks to a pack at the Dollar Tree, but they are also sold at Walmart if your Dollar Tree does not have them. Now this long board had a snowflake cutout on the end, which I cut off. I cut it off right where the cutout started. But again, if your Dollar Tree does not have the sign, you could use other signs. You can make this little fireplace any size you want using different signs and different pieces. I'm just trying to give you an idea of exactly how I did it. So I'm taking 7 of these wooden planks and I'm gluing them down to cover my blue sign here. Now this is going to be the mantle part or the top part of my fireplace. So once I get this all done, my son, who absolutely loves playing with wood filler, is going to go ahead and fill in all the cracks for me so this top piece is nice and smooth. Once we get it nice and smooth, we're going to be ready to attach the pillar pieces to the top. So we're going to flip it upside down, and then we're going to take our pillar pieces and we're going to be very careful to make sure that we have the front in the front, and we have our nice little finished edge where we glue the 7 Jenga blocks facing outward. And now the top is going to be a little bit wider than the pillars, which we wanted. So we're just going to kind of center it. So there's a little bit of a lip at the front and at the back. Now I'm using generous amounts of this strong hot glue, but again, you could use any adhesive that you like. This worked for me. Now I showed 2 wooden planks, but I used 3. I glue them together with popsicle sticks, and this is going to cover the front of our fireplace. Just give it a nice decorative touch on the front, and I think it just adds a lot of character. So once you have the 3 of those wood planks glued together, just glue them down on the front with a bunch of hot glue. And then there you go. That looks so nice. Now we're ready to move on to the next step. Now I'm going to take this square I'll Be Known for Christmas sign, and I'm going to glue 8 of my wooden panels on top of it. They are going to go over a little bit on each side, and that is what I wanted, to give it a nice firm hold to the panels of my fireplace. So once I get all 8 of these glued down, I'm going to fill them in with some wood filler. Once I get that all done and all is smooth and ready to go, I'm going to make sure that it's going to fit my fireplace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. The I'll Be Known for Christmas part is going to go in the back of our fireplace, which we can cover with craft paper. But I'm going to lay my fireplace down on top of that back and trim off any excess. Then I'm going to take the back of my fireplace and glue 2 Jenga blocks on top of each other all the way down the sides, and that is going to give us a 3D dimensional look. Then we're going to simply glue that to the back of our fireplace. So again, the I'll Be Known for Christmas is visible in the back, but we're going to cover that with craft paper. But before we do that, we're going to spray paint this with this Crayon Color Master paint. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take some antique wax on a napkin, and I'm just going to dab and wipe and spread all over the little faux bricks of our fireplace. And then I'll just take a little brush and just stretch as much as I want around the edges of our fireplace. Now you don't have to do this. It's totally customizable. This is just the look that I wanted, and I love how the antique wax looks over where that wood filler was. It just gives a really nice brick look, in my opinion. So here is what we have, and we are ready to start decorating and embellishing. I am so excited. So my son surprised me by, here is his hands here. He made a couple stockings for me to hang from this. Now I will show you that I did purchase some stockings at Hobby Lobby, and he was with me and he said I should go ahead and use those, but he wanted me to show you how he made these cute little stockings. So he just cut pieces out of red felt, glued them together, and then flipped them inside out, and he put this little microfiber cloth around the edge. So cute. He even put a tiny little hook on there that you can hang it with by gluing over a piece of felt. So if you don't have a Hobby Lobby, or you don't want to spend a couple of dollars to buy stockings, here is a super cute, easy way to make your own adorable little stockings. And I am so blessed to have children that get right into crafting with me and that get so excited for me with my channel and love helping me out. So here he is, just carefully flipping it inside out once it's glued together. And this red felt was from Dollar Tree, but of course Walmart, craft stores, you can find it anywhere. So once that is done, I'm going to show you how I made the cute little garland for the top of our fireplace. I just took 2 of these little garland ties and I twined them together for a thicker look. I'm going to do that again, so I'm going to be using 4 total, and then I'm going to put my garland pieces end to end, and I'm going to twine them together. These garland pieces are wired, so you can really kind of manipulate and bend them. So here I have a long garland that is the perfect length for my fireplace. Now I want to make a wreath by twisting 2 of those garland ties together again and forming a circle, twisting my ends together. So Dollar Tree sells garland ties. If you cannot find them, so does pretty much any craft store, as well as Hobby Lobby. So here is my fluffy little wreath. Now I'm going to take some some gorgeous red bells that come from Dollar Tree. They come about 52 a pack, and I'm just going to glue them, kind of no rhyme or reason, just all over my garlands and my wreath where I think they look nice, and I'll put a tiny little bow on my wreath as well. Now I just put the garland on the top. I hung that little wreath. I used tiny dabs of hot glue to hang my stockings from the top, and here is a way that I think it looks super cute displayed. These are mostly Dollar Tree items. The Santa is Dollar General as a decor piece there. I use this little Dollar Tree lantern in the middle, but you could use some faux wood or whatever you like. This is just an idea for you. So I think that this came out absolutely gorgeous. I also took some little lights and kind of draped it behind the garland on the top to give this a sparkly little magical lighted look. But you guys, sky's the limit. Color, decor, size, you can make anything you like out of this. I really hope that you enjoy my ideas today. I hope that I inspired you to make something all your own. I found this sign at the Dollar Tree. It's a wonderful life. I also found this beautiful placemat, and I had these $2 treat signs on hand. I also had some Jenga blocks on hand, so I began by cutting down my Dollar Tree signs with a handsaw just to the size that I wanted, which was about the length of my placemat. Then I used some popsicle sticks glued across the seam to hold this together. Then I began by taking the back part off of my Dollar Tree placemat. I then went ahead and glued this placemat to the blue signs, and I left the edges over the sides so I could flip them around and glue them to the other side of this sign. Next time I will use tacky glue. I knew that I should have. Hot glue was not bad, but there was a few lumps and bumps here and there, so I do suggest tacky glue. Now, once you go ahead and get that done, you can glue on your It's a Wonderful Life sign right there in the middle. With some hot glue, I just placed that down. Once I get that placed down the way I want it, and I pay attention to glue the edges and maybe hold them down till they adhere, I flip my whole thing over and I tuck in those edges of the placemat. Now you can cover the back of the sign with some Dollar Tree brown craft paper like I like to. Now I just go around all of the edges with these Dollar Tree Jenga blocks, and for this I do use some tacky glue and a tiny dab of hot glue for a long-term and also a short-term hold. So I have 6 Jenga blocks on the one side, and I do trim down that little top, and then I fill the bottom in. But as you can see, there is a space there where I did not put Jenga blocks. And the reason I did that is because I want to put my greenery there. So I took 3 garland ties from Dollar Tree, and I just kind of twisted them together and then glued them down like so. And then I glued another twisted garland tie there in the bottom and some more greenery that I think is pretty. Now I did take a dry napkin or paper towel, put a little bit of Minwax stain, and I did lightly stain these Jenga blocks, but that is optional. Now I'm just adding some berries along with my greenery on the side of that sign, and I make a cute little 1 loop on either side, red and black buffalo check bow, glue that down, and then I just make a little shoelace bow that is red and white and put that right in the middle with a tiny dab of hot glue. I trim those tails to make it pretty, and that is how easy this was. Easy peasy, and I just think it is so pretty, and I hope you think so too. So now you could totally use these Dollar Tree wreath forms, and these are a good option for this craft. But I had these 2 cone shapes from Hobby Lobby last year. I believe I got them at end of the year clearance, so I decided to use these. I also have this pom-pom garland from Dollar Tree and this white automotive cloth from Dollar Tree. So again, I'm just showing you that Dollar Tree has an option for this craft. Now I'm going to take this cone shaped form and I'm going to place it on this automotive cloth with the fluffy side out. I'm going to place it at an angle, and I'm going to apply some hot glue and begin to roll. pulling tightly so that this does not have a lot of lumps or bumps. Once I get my whole form covered, I will then trim off the excess on the side and the bottom. I will then fold my edge under so I have a nice clean edge, gluing as I go. Once that is complete, I will just twist and glue the top until I get it how I like it, trimming off any excess that may remain at the top. So just a little bit of twisting and folding. I do recommend wearing some finger protectors here, especially if you have sensitive fingers. I do not. I probably also do not have any fingerprints at this point. Now I'm going to begin at the top of my tree. I'm going to apply some hot glue, and I'm going to take this pom-pom garland and I'm going to wrap it all the way around my tree. Now I do try and keep about the same distance just by eyeballing it, and I try and keep a distance so that each pom-pom will show nicely and you'll still see that fuzzy cloth through there. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep my lines as straight at an angle, if that makes sense. I don't want them to look all wonky, but I do want them to angle down. So hopefully that makes sense. Just pulling tightly as I go. You really don't need a lot of hot glue for this craft. I really just hot glued in the beginning and then some in the end, so that this stays really nicely. I actually am just kind of fixing this little seam in the middle of my tree here. So the way I did this cloth, there is only one seam, and that's the way I wanted it because then it's easy to cover and you can put that toward the back of your display. So once I come to the end of this garland, I'll need to start a second garland and just finish it off here. So in total, I used about 1.5 garlands. I just wrap until I get close to the bottom. Now when I get close to the bottom, I'll just try and pay attention so that I can make sure that that last loop around just goes all the way around the bottom of the tree. Hopefully that makes sense. You can see what I'm doing here. And when my ends meet up, I'll just trim it off and make sure that that is glued down. This tree was so easy to make, and I just think it is so pretty. But Dollar Tree does sell this garland in different colors, so keep that in mind. Now I'm going to take some of this lamb's ear that you can find at Walmart, and I'm going to begin pulling it off the stems so that I have a nice pile of loose leaves. I'm then going to take my smaller cone shape, but again, you could use the Dollar Tree tree wreath form in place of this. And I'm going to begin gluing leaves all the way around in rows. Now I'm not going for full coverage because I'm going to come in where those gaps are with some beautiful Dollar Tree berries. So I'm just trying to get rows that I can go in between and around. So I'm just doing this carefully, and I go ahead and begin tucking them under these leaves because I had left the bottom loose for this reason. So I'm just using hot glue, and I'm just going around and around and tucking them under in every place that I want them. So now I will tell you this craft is very easy, but it is a little time consuming as you may want to hold your pieces down until the glue begins to set so that they stay on nicely. So I'm just going round and round, getting this the way that I want it. And once I get it exactly the way I want it, I'm going to come in with this gorgeous greenery pick that I had purchased at Hobby Lobby last year. I just went ahead and cut it down, and then I took these leaves and glued them in any little spots that may still need some coverage. And I just think that this adds the perfect touch and is so gorgeous. So here are our beautiful trees along with a couple of the other things that we are making today to make this a complete set. I just love this look, and it reminds me of when we were stationed in Colorado. I am a mountains girl. I absolutely love the mountains, and this little set I created just makes me feel homesick for Colorado. So now I'm going to show you how I created this adorable, cozy looking little house display. So I began by taking these 2 pieces from Dollar Tree from the fall time and gluing them together with hot glue, but you can use any type of adhesive that you would like. Once they are together, I take this Dollar Tree automotive cloth and I cover the top of this little stand with this cloth. So I just go ahead and cut it out and glue it down. Once that is done, I take some more of this gorgeous pom-pom garland from the Dollar Tree and I begin gluing it around the edges all the way around this craft. Once that is done, I have my base complete. I can take these houses that I purchased at Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint them with my Waverly Ink chalk paint. Once they are dry, I will hot glue them down onto my little base here. So I put my middle house a little farther back, and then I put my two side houses a little farther up. And then I take these two Dollar Tree trees that come two to a pack, and I go ahead and place two in the back. And then I take some more little Dollar Tree trees and put them in the front. I also take some of that trim and put it on the middle house just for a little extra. I created a tiny little wreath with a piece of garland and some berries and popped that on my middle house. How adorable and easy is this? And these are candle holders, so you can pop a little tea light, battery operated tea light into the back, and these would just look so cute, you guys. So I really hope that you like this. It's very customizable. Again, Dollar Tree does have different colored pom-poms, and you could create your houses in any color you chose to. So now for this next DIY, so easy, but I think they're so pretty, candle holders with Dollar Tree items. So I began with another one of these little automotive cloths, and I take two of these glass vases from the Dollar Tree. So this glass vase does have that little oval chalkboard piece on it, but I'm going to go ahead and cover that up. So I take a strip of the automotive cloth that I have measured to kind of make sure it's going to go around the space that I want it to go around on this glass vase. I fold it under the edges for a nice clean look, and then I glue it down and wrap it around the middle of this glass vase. I then tuck under the seam here and glue it down so it has a nice, fresh, and clean look. I am then going to be taking some more of this Dollar Tree pom-pom garland that I have been using so much in this video, and I'm going to glue it around the middle of my little candle holder. Once that is done, I'm going to take some of these gorgeous florals, so pretty, and I'm just going to take them apart and begin placing them down in a way that I like. So the only one of these florals that is not from Dollar Tree is that eucalyptus looking floral there. That is a tiny little pick that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. But you guys, Dollar Tree has stepped it up with their florals. They are absolutely gorgeous. So I go ahead and place down my greenery first, and I have most of it kind of swooping downward, and then I do go ahead with some berries. So I just kind of do this arrangement the way that I think it looks really pretty, and I do take care that when I stand up my candle holder and nothing will be hanging over the edge there. So I just play with this and get it exactly how I want it using lots of hot glue. Here again would be a great place for finger protectors. And then I just take this Dollar Tree candlestick and I glue my glass vase down on top of it. With this one, I decided to go around where the vase and the candlestick meet with the pom-pom garland. So for my second vase, I just did not put it on a candlestick, and I went around the very top with the pom-pom garland to give it a little bit of a different look. Otherwise, I did everything the same, and I just think that these are so beautiful, you guys. You can put an LED candle in there, and I just think it has a very high-end, pretty look. And again, I really hope that you guys enjoy these DIYs today. Please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Take care, and I will see you very soon.
You can subscribe to my mom's channel, and thank you for watching today's craft and stay safe.